You know, something I hear a lot by new authors especially is they they got book covers covered. They have this friend who's really good at design and they're going to do it for them. And they're just excited about it and they get this book and they're just over the moon because their friend did it for them and it yeah, it's not a bad design, I guess, but the problem is your friend or your nephew or cousin or whoever it is just fantastic graphic person who knows Photoshop really well and does all these little tricks. They know nothing about publishing. They know nothing about what catches a reader's eye and what makes them want to buy it. And they don't, a lot of times they don't know anything about copyright. So they could be using things that could get you in trouble. And so I'm in talk in this video about how you can do this if you're on a budget and you don't want to pay anything, which personally I don't recommend. I do it for some books that I know aren't going to be popular books, and I don't really want to spend that much money on them. But for books that I care about, that I've spent a lot of time with, I'll pay someone to do it. And you know, a lot of people they cringe at this idea of paying. They're on a shoestring budget, and I get that. Like it's tough out there. But if you believe in your book, it's worth that cost. It's worth paying because that's what's going to help sell more books. You'll find that over time you're going to make your money back. And so when I say pay, don't get nervous here. Don't be like, well, I don't have thousands of dollars. Some authors do pay that. I'll show you if you really want to pay a lot of money. I'll show you how to do that. If you want to pay over $1,000 for a book cover, then go for it. There's people out there that are really talented that will do it, but there's also people that are really talented that will do it for less than $100, less than even $50 or $25, and that's not that much. That's pennies on the dollar, really, when you think of the larger scheme of things of how much money you hope to make off this book. So let's jump into it. First I'm going to talk about the free way, if that is your intent, and then I'll talk about some of the different paid ways, and I recommend, even if you want to do the free way or the paid way, just watch all these videos, watch all these topics, and so you can make the most informed decision for your book, because every book is different. So let's get started. So as promised, the free way first. What I'm going to show you is a really popular website that it's called Canva. You might have heard of it. You might have seen commercials because they're getting huge. And Canva was started a number of years ago by actually a really young girl from, I think, Australia. And she just wanted to kind of create this way to make it easy to do designs. And it's grown a lot over the years. They started with very basic designs, and now they do presentations, they do videos, they do all kinds of things. And so the way Canva works is I also should start off by saying it is a free website. There are paid features to it, but everything I'm showing you here is going to be the free way. So yeah, as you explore it, you might see some things that say you have to pay, and if you want to pay, you can. It's not that much for the amount of stuff that it does. And so we'll log in, we get our free account, and let's jump into it. So the first thing you see when you get your account is up here. There's all kinds of things you can do. There's resumes, there's business cards, and down here you'll see some of my designs that some of them I was just experimenting with. But I do a lot of like BookBub ads, splash pages, landing pages. There's all kinds of things you can do. Like, it's not just about book covers. So even if you decide you're not going to use it for book covers, or even if you do use it for book covers, I encourage you to look at the other things it does, because There's all kinds of marketing opportunities that you can use once you understand how this works. So up here it will say, what will you design? And you can look at all the things that you can design, but what you want to do is go to more. And there's a thing right there that says book covers. It's all done for you. And then you can look at all the things that they've already created. So there's a whole bunch of things. You can go into romance cover if you're doing a romance, thriller book, creative book, photo book. It just goes on and on and on. So you can find your genre here. So for this video, we're just going to go into business covers. Pick if you're doing this with me, pick whatever you want. But I'll do this business cover, and you want to be careful with the designs that you already created, because one, there's probably already people that are using this one, so you don't want a book that looks the same. And two, it could be some of these images are copyrighted. So I'm gonna show you where to grab your own images. But first, like if you wanted to change the background, you just really click on these things to activate it. So I'll click right there, that does the background, and I'll change it to slightly different. Or I could click on that and change the color of that to something different. You can do that for everything, for your title, for anything you want. But for this video, we're going to delete all this. So I'm just going to highlight it, because I want to show you how to add a background to it. And there's places you can go to get free backgrounds. I'll show you two different ones. One, so if you wanted clip art or something like that, you could try a project like the Noun Project, and they have all kinds of images you could get. So just put in business. Or how about make money? You're writing this book about making money. It's a business book. So there's all these little clip arts you can use, and this is it's a website where artists will upload their work, and they're trying to make money off it, but it's really reasonable to get these icons. So you create a free account, and you can either get a version that has like a watermark on it, just to like test it out, or you can pay for it. And it will tell you about the licenses and Creative Commons, which means you can use it, and you don't have to credit the author, but you can't use it and like claim it as yours. And then the other website I love, you can just find a lot here, is called Pexels, pexels.com, and I'll have all these links in the description of the video, so don't worry about writing this down, just look at the description, you'll be able to find all of them. So Pexels, they have stock photos. That means artists do the same thing. They upload photos and you can download them. There are paid photos on here, and I'll show you where both of those are. I don't recommend getting the paid photos. I think they're expensive, and there should be plenty of free ones you can use. What I don't recommend doing is just going on Google Images. I do see authors do that, and I don't know if they just assume since it's on the internet it's free, but that's not the case. There's, you might find some that are in Google Images, and in fact you can, let me show you that really quick. So when you're on Google Images, you can actually go on and limit it to, let's see, here we go. You can limit the usage rate to Creative Commons. And, a lot of these will be free to use, or there'll be a license for it. But I don't recommend doing that, because you still might find stuff on here that someone put up for free and they said it was Creative Commons, but someone else owns it. So I would just be really careful about Google Images. So let's look at Pexels. So Again, this is a business book, so we're just doing money. And all these are free to license, so you can just grab any that look like they would make a good cover. And if you get to the very, very bottom, okay, yeah, you'll see sponsored photos in these. And these ones mean you have to pay for it. But if you go on and you can see the license for, you can see other things the artist did, and you can get info on it. So this tells you how many times it's been like seen, downloaded. You can donate to the person if you want to, but it's down here. You'll see free to use. No, you don't have to cite the person. So just make sure you don't have to cite the person and it's free to use. If it does say you have to cite the person or you want to cite the person, then you could do that on the copyright page of your book. You wouldn't have to do it on the cover itself. So let's just grab any cover we see. And I'll just do free download. And again, it says free to use. So free download. And then I can go back into Canva and upload it. So over here you see all the different things you can do, and one is called uploads. And so you'll see all the stuff I've already uploaded. Yours will be empty. And you'll do device. Okay, so then you find your photo and it will upload it. And then again, this is all really simple. It's literally just dragging and dropping. And if you drag it in the right place, it will actually do the background. I'm not going to drag it in the right place though, because I want to show you how to do it if you don't do that. So make it a little bigger, and you resize it however you want. And then I'll right click and I'll do, it's actually in the back already, but if it was in the front like that, it was in front of the text, you would just do send to the back. And that's it. But it's really hard to see all this text right now. Even if you change the colors, it's going to be hard to see. So what you can do is go up here to transparency. And you can make that a slightly different transparency. So it kind of fades it. And it has that like blue hue to it. And that is because up here, blue is selected. So I can select white or purple or any transparent overlay that I want for it. And you can even go into adjust and do kind of like a blur effect to it. So you can just kind of make out what it is. And then if you still wanted to be, if that was like, that stands out, but I want it to stand out more. What you could do is go into elements, and you could do something like this, where you put a box behind it. And you could even give this box a little bit of a transparency. And just think of how long this is taking me to do. Like, you can get this cover done in less than 10 minutes if you're doing it this method. And then you just click in these boxes and change it. Could rotate this if you wanted to. Give it a off-kilter look. And, I know this isn't the most amazing cover, but there's all kinds of templates you can play around with, and you could spend all day experimenting with it. But hopefully you're getting the idea of how easy this is to do. And then once you're ready to download, you just go up here to download. And it's going to ask you how you want to download it. JPEG is going to be the best for Amazon. You could do PNG, it's going to give you like a high quality image. And then once it's downloaded, you could go and convert that to a JPEG. So you have your highest quality version of it. and then you just export it to whatever you need for different ones. And I'll also point out over here, there's photos that Canva has, and some of these are free, and you'll want to make sure you read up on the license on all these. Don't ever use something and assume that it's yours to use. But I'll do business, and it'll say free on these, and some will say pro. And if you do pro, it will have a watermark. But you can look up the license for pro to see how much it is to get it. In fact, we'll just go up here and try pro, and I'll tell you a little bit about what you get with that, and you can even start a free trial with it. So that's how you use Canva. And as you do these, feel free to share your covers, because it's always fun to see what other people are doing. And if you're kind of stuck on how to do something with Canva, feel free to email me, and I'll help you get it set up the way you want it. So that's how you do it the free way. Now what I'm going to do is show you how to do it the paid way. And again, this is the way I recommend doing it, because honestly, like, I've been doing this for a long time, and I still don't know what I'm doing. Like, I know how to use Canva and how to make it look nice, but I'd rather just have a professional who's been doing it for years, who this is, all they do is book covers. Like, they really know what people want in book covers. And I have an idea of what they want because I've seen so many of them. But there's people that specialize in it, and they're not that much, so why not use them? So in the next video, I'll talk about the paid way, and you can decide if it's right for you. So now let's look at, what do you do if you want to pay? You just feel like either Canva, you don't want to take time to learn Canva, even though it's really easy, or you prefer to have someone do it because you want to make it look really good. What I recommend is, there's two things you can do. One is you can do it the really expensive way, and one you can do the cheaper way. Personally, I use the cheaper way because for the kind of books I do, it's all I need. I don't need some fancy cover where it's an original design. And that's really the difference. With expensive covers, you're paying a artist to actually draw you an original cover that is yours. With the cheaper way, you're paying someone to use stock images and then kind of have an overlay on top of it. And I'll show you what I mean. It will make a lot more sense when you see the video on how this works. So this is an example of a professional artist. So he draws these covers. Like this image, if you paid for it, you would get these images. So you could use this on any marketing, really. If you decided you want to do like a poster for your fans or something, you could have just the image on it and not even the name of the book. So like there would be an example of just the image. So these are all, I think he draws them on a computer. And there's a lot of people like this that you can find. I recommend going on things like Wide for the Win on Facebook, just different groups for writers. Find the biggest forums and discussion groups for writers, and just ask them who they use for original book covers. And these kind of covers are going to cost, I don't know what his prices are. I think it's $1,600 to $2,000 for a single image. And let's look really quick. So let's go up here really quick to pricing. So his covers are $2,000, and you get an ebook, a paperback, a hardback. And what he means by that is an ebook is going to be a cover like this. It's just a front image. A hardback and paperback, it would look like this, where you get a back image and a front image together, because you will need this back image if you are doing paperback. And I recommend you do that because why not? It's free to do. And then it says you get like an audio version of it, I think. Yeah, audio version. So there's all kinds of versions that you get, and it says it takes 4 to 5 months to get it. And I've seen him a lot, like especially for sci-fi. And usually what you find with these people who do original covers is they specialize in doing different genres. So he is really good with sci-fi and probably fantasy. Yeah, he has a lot of fantasy on here. You'll have other artists that are really good at like romances, and so that's why I recommend going on these groups and just asking, what do you use? What do you use for your genre? Like who's a really good artist in this particular genre? And then just go on and see examples of their work and plan it out, because like this guy who takes 4 to 5 months, he's really booked up because he's really popular. So that's how you do an original cover. So now that we know about original covers versus so we've seen original covers, the most expensive way to do this. What about the cheaper way to do this, where you're paying, but you're not paying $2,000, you're paying less than 100, more like 25 or 50. So like I said, that way you're doing like combination of stock and like a typography that goes on top of it. So let me give you an example by showing you my books. So these were all done, these are some of my recent books, and they were all done using a stock photo on the back, and then the designer would just put a kind of text that matched the back on the front, so it just fit it. And all these were done for under $50. They weren't expensive at all. And that person also did like audio covers for me. They did paperback, hardback. They did the whole, the works. They didn't do this one, so just ignore that one. But they did all the other ones. And the way she works is, a lot of artists, they work with this website called Deposit Photos. And so you go on here, and these are all paid images, but they can all be licensed. So you just want to make sure the person who does the cover for you, they have a license, and find out what the license entails. So Deposit Photos, they work with all these big brands down here, and you can just type in what you're looking for. So let's stick with the theme of business book. So I'll just type in finance. And you'll see all kinds of different photos you can use. And there's going to be thousands and thousands. Like this one has 5 million. Or let's type in, you're doing fiction, let's type in love story. And you'll see all these different photos that you can use. And you can kind of like type in the theme of your book. Like if you're doing a historical romance, but you'll find a whole bunch of that too. So there's all kinds of historical romances here. There's 13,000 you get to go from, and they'll have like suggestions based on what you type, like historical couple. And it's all the themes are going to be here. Science fiction will be here. So whatever you want to do, there's millions of photos here. And you can go on, you want to make sure that they aren't licensed, like they can be used commercially. So there's, I think right here it says editorial only, or you can exclude editorial. What editorial means is it can only be used in like a print publication, like a magazine. Like you probably won't see it for most of the book covers that you're working on, but it would be for something like, say a commercial product, like an iPhone. Someone might have a photo of an iPhone here, and you wouldn't be able to use it on a book cover because it has something that's already licensed to Apple. But what you could do is put that in a print publication with no text on top of it. So that's what editorial only would mean. So you just want to make sure you do exclude editorial. And then you would just give this link to the person, and this is just what my designer uses, and I find that most designers that are on Fiverr, which is the website I'm going to talk about, that's what they use. But some will use other things. So they may use like iStock or something like that, but they all work the same way, where it'll just be a repository of millions of photos, and you just search for what you want, and then you give them the link to that image. And so Fiverr is this place where people just post their gigs. So you can type in book cover, and you just kind of browse through here and look for artists that you like, and it'll tell you how much they start at. So this person, they start at $25 for designing a cover, ebook cover, and they're all the same. If you see it for $25, they're all doing covers that aren't original. They're using stock photos. They may do some little hacks and stuff to the photos to make them stand out and pop a little more. But yeah, they're all using stock photos. You might, in fact, not might, you will find people that do original covers on here, and they'll be in the more expensive area. And they'll start usually above 100, but yeah, there's all kinds of all kinds of artists you can find on here. And it's not just for book covers, it's for everything. So if you're looking for, say, an illustrator, you wrote this really cute kids book, and you're a good writer, but you're not a good drawer, you can find someone that will create illustrations for your book. So this person looks like they do illustrations for $30 for one colored photo, or you can do premium, where you get a couple people in the photo, and they're really nice designs. Like, this is her particular design, and you'd own these, so you can use them in your kid's book. Or you could use this to find someone who, if you're like, I'm going to have some videos on how to create your EPUB files and PDF files. But if you don't want to do that, if you want to just find someone to do it for you, you could type in design ebook. And you'll find people that they'll create your ebook for you. So Fiverr, it's this place for finding all kinds of gigs, like whatever you want. If you want to do a translation, you could do it here. You want to be careful with translations, though, because a lot of people will use so you want to be careful with like translations, because a lot of people they'll like automate it, like they'll put it through Google Translate, and some won't even know how to speak that language. We'll use some sort of tool to convert it, and so what you're left with is a book that sounds weird to someone that's reading it natively. And in fact, Amazon, I believe they ban those sort of tools. So if they catch you doing these really poor translations, you could get in trouble with them, even have your account terminated. So you want to be careful with that. The other place you can go for these kind of things, there's all kinds of things. So I want to say the other place you can go there, go on Google and just type in book covers, and you'll find a whole bunch. But Fiverr is really popular. Another place that's popular is Upwork. And this is where you can, instead of looking for talent, like people that already have their pages posted, you could post a job saying, I'm looking for someone to do X. Like X would be design a book cover for me. And then people bid on it. And whereas Fiverr, you go on and people already will tell you exactly how much they'll do it for. Upwork is where you go. You might be able to find it cheaper on there, or you might just be able to find better talent on there. I'll use Upwork a lot to find my audiobook people. So Fiverr, you can find people to narrate your audiobook. But I don't know. I find that it's just harder to find people that are just harder to filter that kind of stuff. So I'll go on Upwork and I'll just say, hey, I'm looking for a male voice or a female voice who's young to do my audiobook, or kind of having a description what kind of person I'm looking for. That way I don't have to go through Fiverr and find people that match that style. I can just say the style I'm looking for. People bid on it. I listen to their voice and go from there. So that's how you do it the paid way. And, you know, like I said, this is the way I recommend, just because it's not that expensive, and you're going to get something better than what you would get from Canva. You're going to get something that looks more professional, something that stands out more. When I'm on Amazon, I can usually look and see who did a Canva cover and who paid to have their cover done, because there is a difference. So again, with these ones too, just feel free to share your design, share what you had done for you, and I want to see your success. And if you have questions about who you're working for, or things you should ask, feel free and reach out to me. My email's at the end of this video, and I'd be happy to answer any of those questions for you. Thanks for watching, and good luck with what you decide to do.